This circuit is a logic probe that detects power net indicated by red LED, ground net by green LED, and logic pulse by the yellow LED in a circuit under test. It can also generate short pulses or waveform when you press this button, and thus has the additional functionality of a pulso. In simple words, you can use this logic probe for analyzing and troubleshooting the logic states of a digital circuit. So in this video, we will go through the complete design process of this device. There are a couple of ways you can check for power ports while debugging a circuit. The first device that comes to mind is a multimeter. You first set the multimeter in a voltage position and then place its probe at the debugging points. An oscilloscope can also detect these points by displaying the voltage waveforms on its screen. Both these options require you to set up the device first, are not easy to use, and may be an overkill for this application. That's why a simple logic probe is used by the engineers to detect power or ground rails and logic pulse in a circuit. It is very easy to use as it has a single probe and comes in handy while debugging a circuit. Now, depending on the features, a logic probe may cost you around $10 to $50. So for the purpose of detecting the power and ground rails, purchasing a logic probe is not practical at all. You know what's practical and cool? Building yourself one. The cost of this homemade logic probe is under $2, and you may learn a thing or two while building it. This simple circuit utilizes a NOT gate IC, some resistors and capacitors. To use this logic probe, the power and ground pin of the probe must be connected to the power and ground pin of the circuit under test. The probe or tip is then touched to the port or net that you want to check. Red LED indicates the high logic, whereas the green LED indicates low logic. The circuit also has a yellow LED to show when a single pulse is detected. This is handy for the time when you are waiting for a single pulse to arrive in order to activate a circuit. And a mechanical buzzer is also attached to hear the presence of waveforms. To inject the waveform into a circuit, you need to press the onboard button. This will also light up all the LEDs. The first step is creating a schematic in a PCB designer tool. I am using Altium Designer to design the schematic in PCB. You may use any other tool. But if you would like to try Altium, there is a trial link given in the description below. So after placing all the components on the sheet and connecting them according to the circuit diagram, it's time to design the PCB. So I converted the design schematic to PCB first, created the board outline, placed the component's footprint inside this outline, and then I routed the PCB using both auto and manual router. After viewing the finished PCB in 3D mode, I am satisfied with the design, so it's time to generate the Gerber file and send it to the PCB fabrication company. I gave the PCB's order to JLC PCB as I really like their service and the quality of their PCBs. So first I uploaded the Gerber files on their website jlcpcb.com, and once the processing was finished, I selected the black color for the solder mask and changed some other properties according to my requirements. Then I double checked all the parameters, saved the order to cart, and successfully ordered the PCBs from there. If you want to order your first PCB from them, you can get an $18 coupon right away if you register through my link. The link is given in the description below. It usually takes around a week for the PCB to reach here, so in the meantime, let me explain how the circuit works. As you can see, the brain of this circuit is a 4069 IC which has 6 NOT gates inside of it, hence the name hex inverter. A NOT gate is a logic gate with one input and one output. When the input is high, the output is low, and when the input is low, the output is high. To power this logic probe, its positive and negative terminals are connected to the power and ground pin of the circuit under test. Let's say 5 volt and ground. And the probe is the part that connects the circuit net under test to the logic probe circuit. Let's give each NOT gate a name starting from 1 to 6. The NOT gate 1, 2, 3 and 4 are used to detect the 5 volt, ground and pulse logic, thus acts as a logic detector circuit. Whereas NOT gate 5 and 6 are used to generate the short pulses and together acts as a logic pulsar circuit. Let's look at the working of logic probe circuit first. Out of the first 4 NOT gates, NOT gate 1 detects the 5 volt and NOT gate 2 detects the ground. The NOT gate 3 and 4 then detects the short pulses. Now look closely at the NOT gate 1. Its input is clearly pulled down to ground using a 1 megohm resistor. So when the probe is not connected anywhere, its input is low and output is high or 5V. But the output is connected to an LED whose other end is connected to a 5V through a 220 ohm resistor. This means there is a 0 voltage drop across the red LED and it remains off initially. Similarly, the NOT gate 2 is pulled up to 5V using a 1 mega ohm resistor. Hence 0 volts across the green LED and it remains off initially. Now when the probe is connected to the power net of the circuit under test, the input of the NOT gate 1 is high and its output becomes low or 0V. Like before, the anode of the red LED is at 5V, but this time there is some voltage drop across LED and it lights up indicating the power net. Similarly, the NOT gate 2 detects the ground net when the probe is connected to a ground point of the circuit under test. Now the input of the NOT gate 3 and 4 is pulled low and high respectively. This means the output of 3 and 4 is at high and low respectively. Hence, the yellow LED remains off as its anode and cathode are at 0 volts. The capacitor C1 is connected between the input of gate 4 and the output of gate 3, that is at 5V on both sides. When a logic pulse arrives at the probe, the input of the NOT gate 3 becomes high and its output goes low. This causes a potential drop across the C1 and it charges slowly through the 1 mega ohm resistor. But in order to do so, this terminal of the capacitor must be at 0 volts initially as the capacitor starts to charge. And because of this, the output of gate 4 becomes high temporarily, lighting up the yellow LED. Now let's look at the working of logic pulsar circuit made using NOT gate 5 and 6. Initially the input of gate 5 is low and output high. Hence output of gate 6 is low as its input is the output of gate 5. So the output of the pulsar is also low. Due to this configuration, the capacitor C2 connected between the output of gate 6 and input of gate 5 starts charging through the 15K resistor. And as soon as it is charged to a suitable voltage level to be called high logic, the output of the NOT gate 5 goes to 0 and the output of gate 6 goes to 1. So the output of the pulsar is high now. But now the capacitor starts discharging and when it reaches 0 volts, the output of the NOT gate 6 or pulsar again goes low. This cycle repeats itself and a continuous pulse is generated at the output. So when the button is pressed, this pulse arrives at the probe through the 1K resistor. Apart from the LEDs, a buzzer is connected to indicate the presence of different frequency waveforms. It is connected to the circuit using a transistor. This transistor acts as a switch here, and when a waveform arrives at the base of the transistor through the probe, the buzzer produces sound depending upon the signal's frequency. The PCB arrives a week after ordering from JLC PCB and its finish and quality is good and up to the mark. So it's time to assemble the components onto the PCB board. To test this logic probe, I am using the Arduino Uno board. I uploaded a simple program to generate digital high, low and PWM signal using different digital pins of the board. Let's see if our circuit can detect these signals or not. Now for testing the logic pulsar circuit, I hooked an oscilloscope to the probe, supplied 5 volts to the circuit and connected their grounds together. After pressing this button, the pulsar generated a 5 volt pulse and can be seen on the oscilloscope. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel for more such cool projects and explanation.